Please, go ahead, ma'am.
Why is it so important to you to own it when you have a military presence there, which you could expand to affect security?
Because when we own it, we defend it. Right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not. We'll take over Greenland. We're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. I would like to make a deal, the easy way. But if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way.
Look into Trump's eyes. What you see is not leadership. It is calculation, a cold, deliberate intent to ignite conflict against his own allies. This is the bloodstream of fascism, poisoning every rotten cell of who he is. The madness, the power obsession, the endless craving for dominance. Trump does not raise his voice to lead. He screams to be noticed, to be coddled, to be worshipped by the world.
And I say it all the time. A year and a half ago, we were a dead country. And now we have the hottest country in the world. I mean, you're beneficiaries too.
It is not hyperbole to say that the posting tantrum Donald Trump just unleashed is the most destructive episode of his entire presidency and should trigger removal under the 25th Amendment. Donald Trump has lost his mind, and let's be honest, he never had one to begin with. But now it is gone in a way even his past chaos never reached, because at 3 a.m. he is actively leaking war intentions about Greenland like a reckless, unhinged autocrat. This was not a single outburst. It was a barrage of posts fueled by a screaming, incoherent press conference that sounded less like governance and more like a psychological collapse. This is a new level of instability, even for Donald Trump. And you will be just as stunned as anyone watching, because this did not begin with the late night posts at 1, 2, and 3 a.m. It began on camera when he was asked about Greenland. What followed was the tantrum we have come to expect, and then the reckless posting spree that dragged American foreign policy into danger, driven by ego, impulse, and unchecked delusion.
What do you plan to say to European leaders in Davos when they push back on your Greenland plan?
Well, I don't think they're going to push back too much. Look, we have to have it. They have to have this done. They can't protect it. Denmark, they're wonderful people. And I know the leaders are very good people, but they don't even go there. And, because the boat went there 500 years ago and then left, that doesn't give you title to property. So we'll be talking about it with the various people. We've had tremendous success, and I've done more for NATO than anybody else. I don't think you'd have NATO right now. I got them to go 5% and pay as opposed to 2% and not pay. I've done more than any other American president for NATO by far. And we'll see how that goes, but Greenland is very important.
Donald Trump is operating like a mob boss is threatening America's closest allies so that he, a petulant child, can get his toy in the form of a sovereign nation.
U.S. President Donald Trump says his country will acquire the Danish territory of Greenland.
We need Greenland for national security and even international security.
That is where we are, with the President of the United States, a man with pudding leaking out of his brain, incapable of explaining the real national security implications of Greenland. Yet, in the very same breath, he demands ownership of it to stop Putin, while simultaneously inviting Putin onto his so-called peace board because he claims he is a great guy. The same murderous dictator Trump says we need Greenland to protect ourselves from is also, conveniently, Donald Trump's best friend. It makes no sense. This man praises Putin while attacking America's allies, dismantling alliances, and weakening global stability. And then, somehow, it gets even worse, because when little baby Donnie is asked about his feelings on the Nobel Prize, that fragile ego is what ignites the entire war obsession. The Nobel Prize did. And he said all of this moments before the posting spree began.
Prize, they're just kidding. They have a board, but it's controlled by Norway, and I don't care what Norway says. But I really don't care about that. What I care about is saving lives. And I think I've saved tens of millions of lives.
Yes, yes. Maybe not getting the Nobel Peace Prize finally taught Donald Trump how to become a villain. But no, that darkness was already rotting inside every cell of his body. This is the mindset of a small, filthy, spite-driven man. If he cannot have what he wants, he will burn the world down with him. He will shake the globe with hatred and drag it into conflict, because in his twisted brain, it is all about satisfaction. He looks at the calendar, sees 79 years, and decides, I will not be here much longer, so let me light the match, watch the chaos, and smile as the world burns. Trump says he does not care about the Peace Prize, which is the most "my girlfriend lives in Canada" statement anyone has ever heard. And in Trump's deranged fantasy, that girlfriend now lives in the 51st state. It would be funny if it were not so dangerous. What is truly hysterical is that this pathetic man still brags about his fake peace legacy and the tens of millions of lives he claims to have saved while actively hurting people in his own country by ripping away their health care just so he can stockpile money for his Greenland obsession for reasons no rational person can explain. He is so deeply unhinged that a lazy, self-absorbed man who never follows through on anything has somehow decided this is the one mission he will actually commit to. Everything in Trump's world is always 2 weeks away except Greenland. And that is why he is now leaking his own war intentions. Donald Trump first wrote, I had a very good telephone call with Mark Rutte, the Secretary General of NATO, concerning Greenland. I agreed to a meeting of the various parties in Davos, Switzerland. As I expressed to everyone very plainly, Greenland is imperative for national and world security. There can be no going back. On that, everyone agrees. The United States of America is the most powerful country anywhere on the globe by far. Much of the reason for this is a rebuilding of our military during my first term, which rebuilding continues at even more expedited pace. We are the only power that can ensure peace through the world, and it is done quite simply through strength. Trump then posted this image of him, Vance, and Rubio in Greenland planting an American flag. And as you can see, it says Greenland, U.S. territory established 2026. But that is only the version Trump wants you to see. Now, I will show you what he left out the full picture the public deserves.
This is a sharp satire exposing the twisted thinking of people who want to seize their own allies.
But that's not even the worst part, because Donald Trump also followed that up with a post that shows the United States seemingly dominating most of the Western Hemisphere, taking control of Venezuela, taking control of Cuba, taking control of Greenland, taking control of it all. Trump then, for some reason, continued the leaking and shared his conversation with Mark Rutte, the NATO Secretary General, and wrote, Mr. President, dear Donald, what you accomplished in Syria today is incredible. I will use my media engagements in Davos to highlight your work there in Gaza and in Ukraine. I am committed to finding a way forward on Greenland. Can't wait to see you. Yours, Mark. I have no words. I truly have no words. As this video is being recorded, it is nearly 3 o'clock in the morning, and Donald Trump is still posting, still leaking messages, still flooding the internet with AI nonsense. This is the President of the United States behaving like a restless child with a phone and no supervision. He did not get the trophy he believes he deserves simply for existing. So now, instead, he demands a sovereign nation, and somehow people are lining up to indulge him. What are you doing? If the Secretary General of NATO is telling Donald Trump, we will find a way on Greenland, then no, you will not find a way on Greenland. Do not find a way. Do not reward this behavior, because the only language Donald Trump understands is strength. And strength is exactly what European leaders must show right now. Strength to stare him down. Strength to say what Republicans in Congress have refused to say for a decade. We have watched this man operate for years, and still they pretend not to understand how dangerous he is. Yes, I may sound furious, but it is almost 3 in the morning because the President of the United States is talking about war with the Western Hemisphere at 3 in the morning. That is not normal. That is not leadership. Do not bend the knee. Do not back down. Stand up, look him in the eye, and tell him to stop acting like a reckless, unstable man, because that is exactly what he is. And Republicans, spare us the act. There is no strength. There is no conviction. There is only cowardice. So here is the final plea, the 25th Amendment. It is time. This man is beyond broken. He is beyond parody. He is beyond jokes about mental decline. He is deranged, and he is putting the world in danger. He wants conflict with everyone. It is 25th Amendment time! We were told by Congressman Don Bacon that war with Greenland would end Trump's term. Well, Don, stop moving the goalposts. Trump wants Greenland. He is openly signaling it. He is posting images of territorial expansion, not just involving Greenland, but Venezuela, Canada, and beyond. What are we doing? What is happening here? 25th Amendment. This man is out of his mind, and he is doing this for 2 reasons. 1, because he is a broken man who craves attention at any cost. And 2, because he knows the Epstein files are coming. He knows the clock is ticking. He knows what is about to be exposed, and he knows his entire facade is collapsing. And that is why the behavior has become more frantic, more reckless, and more dangerous by the day. Because when a man who fears accountability still holds power, he does not seek stability, he seeks distraction. And yes, it is infuriating to say this, but the truth is simple. People put him back in office. And now the consequences are here. A nation led by a man who cannot think critically, surrounded by enablers who refuse to think at all. Enjoy it if you want, because the rest of us are paying for it. Your tax dollars are being treated like a personal war fund. Your rights are being treated like obstacles. And Greenland has become a personal obsession. This is not strategy. This is not diplomacy. This is a tantrum disguised as foreign policy. How did we get here? We got here because critical thinking was replaced with blind loyalty. Because people ignored what tariffs mean. Ignored what war with Canada would cost. Ignored what mass deportation would destroy. Ignored what happens when a narcissist is given unchecked power. And now we are staring down the possibility of conflict with Greenland, Norway, and Denmark. Not because of strategy, not because of necessity, but because Donald Trump wanted a toy and was told no. And when asked about the Peace Prize, his response is not leadership, it is desperation. He does not even know what it is, but he wants it. He begs for it. He craves validation like a child. This is not governance. This is ego management. And the world is being dragged along for the ride. And here we are, nearly 3 in the morning. Because the President of the United States cannot stop posting, cannot stop spiraling, and cannot stop putting the country at risk. This is not the time for polite analysis. This is the time for action. Invoke the 25th Amendment. Impeach, convict, remove. Because the alternative is chaos. And chaos is exactly what this man thrives on. And yes, he is still posting. If you are watching this, you will probably see even more of it tomorrow. And that is exactly why this cannot continue. If you made it this far, leave a like. Stay loud, drop a heart, keep fighting, and do not let them silence you.